Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. See one of my pretties? Ooh, is that a book? No, that's not a book. Um, so my birthday was this week and I got a bunch of books, which is what this video is all about, all the new books. So it will be a rapid fire, check out all the books I got sort of book haul video. But I also wanted to show you some of the sparklies I got. So this guy, check out that handle. That's so cool. And it's matching sugar. So this is the sugar bowl. It's an open sugar bowl because it doesn't have a lid. And then the creamer that goes with it. I still have to identify these to pattern and maker. But I got quite a few of these creamer and sugar sets over the past couple weeks. I think I got 2 full sets and 1 extra creamer this week. So I will be figuring out where I'm going to display all of my creamer and sugar sets now, because my collection has gotten a bit bigger than I had before. But yeah, that's not books. How many books did you get, you ask? Well, I got a couple. So I'm going to bring them over in stacks and show them to you and then set them out of the way and then bring you over some more. So I'll start with the ones that are all kind of a set. Alright, so some of you guys probably have seen these sorts of books. They are art books, so they have a box, so they're in a box. Then you pull it out of the box, you got the book. They're, I think, leather with paper on the outside. And just books about artists. So, pretty pretties. See, pretty pretties. So I did an art degree in college, and am always interested in art. So I got a few of these. And this stack was from bin shopping. I went to the Goodwill outlet in the closest city to me that has one. And these guys were among the stuff that we brought home. Bin shopping always, I don't know, it makes me feel slightly guilty for all the things I can't rescue. Because so Goodwill, for folks that are not in a place that has Goodwill, is a thrift store chain. And they do some amount of charity with the money they bring in. There's all sorts of debates about how much money they should be making that they don't put into charity, and but one of the things they do, aside from what they do with the money part, is they rescue all the stuff that we get rid of and distribute it to other people so it doesn't go in landfills, and that's wonderful. But of course there's always the stuff that doesn't sell in the stores, and that stuff in the Goodwill system goes to the Goodwill outlets, where it goes in these big blue rolly bins, and then people go there and buy stuff by the pound. Or in the case of books, all the book-like objects are 70 cents a piece or 69 cents a piece right now. And so you just go through and rescue the stuff, and it's like the last chance for the stuff. So it's like treasure hunting or whatever. But I try not to think about what happens to the stuff that nobody takes from those bins. Because I think at that point a lot of it just goes to the landfill. But hopefully there's at least some last minute sorting of stuff that should go somewhere other than landfills after the bins go back into the back again. I don't know. But anyway, these guys were super cheap. And I think these are actually pretty expensive if you bought them one at a time on a subscription or whatever. I have a friend that buys books that way, and I'm pretty sure these are the kinds of books he buys. So I got a stack, lots of books. I have Michelangelo, Rubens, Vermeer, Dürer, Bruegel, and Titian. So those I will be probably reading in November. And yes, I will be reading them, but they will probably go with nonfiction November. The next stack is from my other favorite place to go to hunt books. There is a little shed. Actually, two sheds. There's the Free Cycle shed, and then the one next to it is the book shed. In a small town near me, they have amazing selection in books for the fact that literally it is a garden shed that's got books in it. And it's a self-serve system. You put your money in a little knot hole in the side, and take the books. So I got lots of books. So here's one after the other, this stack of books from that book shed. We got Ann Tyler, Breathing Lessons. Umberto Eco's The Foucault's Pendulum. This is one I was meaning to read. It's been talked about on maybe more than one sprints. So, yeah. Suite Française by Irene Nemirovsky. This is a book on several book lists. So one of the things I like to collect from that bookshed is books from book lists. Here's one I don't need to actually reread yet. But I read The Circle by Dave Eggers as a library book, and I loved it, and the Every. So I will be looking for the Every as well for my permanent collection. Over there. Yeah, Vera, Mrs. Vladimir Nabokov by Stacy Schiff. The biographical novel or biography, I'm not sure if it's fiction or nonfiction, but about Nabokov's wife. So I'm pretty sure there's still a women's month, a women's themed month coming up this year. I always forget until they happen. Got Songs in Ordinary Time by Mary McGarry Morris. I know nothing about it, but it is an Oprah book club book and a Penguin edition with the orange spine. The combination suggests it's probably a good book. Tammy Hoag, The Bitter Season. Okay, did you guys know that D.H. Lawrence wrote a book called Kangaroo? Because I did not know this. I've been reading D.H. Lawrence for decades. How did I not know he wrote a book called Kangaroo? So I had to, of course, adopt Kangaroo. I got The Accomplice by Joseph Cannon. I have an arc of Cannon's new book that I should be reading soon, maybe this week. That'll actually be my first Joseph Cannon book. But I own 2 or maybe 3 others. This will be an addition to those. So I will be reading quite a bit of Joseph Cannon this year. I'm guessing they are thrillers, maybe spy thrillers, and maybe some of them are historically situated, based on the titles and the covers, but I don't know. And I'm going to try not to know until I read them. But I think that's roughly the genre that they are, based on what I have and what I've seen of them. This one, I just like, the books that are paperback at the bookshed are a quarter. So this one, I picked it up, I stared at it for long enough, like, it might as well come home. It's called The Gardener Heist, The True Story of the World's Largest Unsolved Art Theft by Ulrich Boser. And it just sounds like a cool book. I know nothing about it, and that is probably nonfiction. Another book in Bill O'Reilly's Killing Such and Such series. I don't know if there's a name for it besides, the Killing books or whatever. So Killing England. This is the brutal struggle for American independence. So that is one of these stacks of 3 that I got from the bookshed. So I'll put these aside and we'll get on to the next books. Oh, and I spent a total of $11 in the bookshed. So all the books I got from the bookshed, $11. This is why I like that bookshed. And I don't mind at all giving them my money for books. And I usually bring them books as well. So anything that I don't put on the free shelves from the library or, little free book libraries, which actually right now I think there's been some trouble with people vandalizing the one closer to me. So, usually when I have books to get rid of that I haven't already put at one of those other locations, they come with me and I just, leave them there for future bookshed shoppers. So I found a nice plastic covered, for a school library is my guess, copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, because Coda and I are reading this in April. So in a couple days, we'll have to arrange when we're going to do our check-ins and all that for reading this. But we are buddy reading Rebecca. Then downside to the plastic, it's very shiny on camera. But it does mean if I spill my coffee, it won't die. This one, it won't work for next month because it was published in 2008. But Candace Bushnell is one of those names that we encountered in the 90s. She just wasn't publishing this yet. So I know nothing about it. But since I'm going to be living in 1997 for a month, it seemed like something that coming out of that, maybe I'll read this. And it was, again, a quarter. So I have no idea. It might be good. It might be ridiculous. This one was a find. This is Arthur W. Upfield, The Battling Prophet. Upfield is a murder mystery author. Let's see when this one was published. Because 1922. Yeah, these books were coming out at the same time as Agatha Christie. But Upfield's detective is biracial. He has an Aboriginal and a white parent. And in the United States, when these books were coming out, they were not sold in the U.S. They were banned in most places in the U.S. because they centered around a biracial couple and their child, mostly their child. And of course, that means there is a non-white detective doing all of the detectiving. So these are really cool books. They are probably slightly dated for your modern reader. Although if you're a modern reader in the U.S. reading them, you might not even notice that they're all that dated because the unusual setting of being in Australia might overpower any datedness that might, ensue in these. I love them. It's hard to find them used anywhere where I'm at because obviously if they weren't being sold in the U.S., there's not a lot of copies in the U.S. Um, I have maybe two. I think I've got one that a friend whose family was in England um, gave him, or yeah. So I got one that actually came from England, one that I got as a prize book from a reading game on Goodreads. They don't show up in thrift stores, so that was amazing. I know I have seen people talk about this biography in November. Since I found it and it was a quarter, I got it. This is Ron Chernow's Alexander Hamilton biography. I vaguely remember people saying this was a pretty good one. So I'm looking forward to it. Might not read it till November, but it should be good. This one doesn't have a dust jacket. Okay. Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance. Doesn't have its dust jacket, but there you go. Hillbilly Elegy. I know this is on a book list that I'm supposed to be reading it. So I don't know which one, but I know it's on my list in my head. This is The Heart of the World by Ian Baker. Very pretty. He is traveling in Tibet, according to the back of the book. So, nonfiction, Tibet, traveling, beautiful. I don't know if I want to deal with the social issues around China and Tibet to be a tourist in that area. Sometimes I've heard it can be a little bit interesting. Other than that, I would love to see Tibet. That's on my list of places where if socioeconomic and political issues were not a thing, I would totally be going there. So that one should be fun. Murder at Honeychurch Hall. Alright, so we got Murder at Honeychurch Hall by Hannah H. Dennison. Another book I don't know much about, but we'll find out together what it's about. I got Schindler's List because I have another book by Kennelly that I got not too much earlier. It might be in this video. I think it might be in that other stack, actually. So I'll be reading several books by him. This is one of those books I figure is going to be a classic eventually, or at least the kind of classic that ends up on people's lists. I will probably eventually want to have read it. So I got Orange is the New Black by Piper Kerman. Not really my thing enough that I've never actually watched a full episode, but it's a book. It's not very long. I might as well try it, see what it's like. You never know, maybe I'll decide that I love it, and then I'll watch the show. I got American Lion by John Meacham. This one is about Andrew Jackson in the White House. Deliverance by James Dickey. I know this book is on the Guardian list of 1,000 novels. So I know, if nothing else, I need to read it for that. This one I just loved the cover. It's so cool looking. And it is a murder mystery, and you never know when you need a book that's a murder mystery involving a board game. Or at least a book with a board game. It'll fit some interesting prompts. So A Pawn for a Queen by Fiona Buckley. Next pile. Yes, I had a very good week for birthday books. This one is The Kitchen Boy by Robert Alexander. I know I have heard someone talk about this book. I may not know what it was about or why they were talking about it, but I know that The Kitchen Boy has come up somewhere. So I have it, I will read it, I will figure it out. Mary Shelley by Miranda Seymour, another biography. I have not heard anything about this one, but it was in the same shelf with the other biographies. I didn't want to just leave it there by itself. Peter Ustinov's Monsieur Rene. I know this was on a book list as well, so I'm going to have to read it eventually. Murder Mystery Classic, The Green Ripper by John D. MacDonald. I have several other MacDonald books that I might get to next month because they are pre-97. This one I need to tape because it's doing that. Trinity by Leon Uris. I'm betting that this one is also pre-97. The Maytrees by Annie Dillard. I got book 3 now. Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay by Elena Ferrante. I have book 4. Now I have book 3. Eventually I'll find books 1 and 2, and then I can read the series. Here's another biography. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I don't know if that's how he would say it. I've still never figured out how one would smoothly say this man's name. I love his books. But anyway, this is a biography about him. His Life and Times by Curtis Cate. I have 3 by Irving, by John Irving. The 3 in here are Setting Free the Bears, The Water Method Man, and The 158-Pound Marriage. So I'm guessing they're early days of John Irving. And then an Iris Murdoch book, The Message to the Planet, which is a novel by Iris Murdoch. All right. All these books. And last but not least, the last stack. This is actually one I did not buy. This is a book I got in the mail, my book mail for this week. Goodreads giveaway. All Friends Are Necessary by Thomas Moniz. Looked interesting enough to enter the giveaway. It will probably be good, and I will be reading these even though they are obviously brand new books. I will be setting aside one set of sprints every week when I can read new books, specifically ARCs and Goodreads giveaway books, because I don't want to set this aside for a whole month just because I'm playing a reading game. That's not fair. So I've decided that on Nicole, who is Dusty Book Sniffers, on her sprints, I can read any buddy reads and any ARCs and Goodreads giveaway books that I have. So if I join in on a buddy read with someone and that book happens to not be early enough, those could also be read during specifically those sprints. on anybody else's sprints, I'd better be in 1997 or earlier. So that's going to be the rules for next month. Should be exciting. I finally have my copy of I Could Pee on This and Other Poems by Cats by Francesco Marciolano. Yes. And my cat that I had for many, many years and that died about 2 years ago now, looked just like that cat. So, yeah, I have a pale version of that cat now, who could also probably write these poems. Yes, that is a total classic. I don't know if I've read Seamus Heaney's version of Beowulf. I might have, but I don't think that I have. I've read so many different versions of Beowulf. But in any case, this one has the Old English and the modern translation. So it has Old English on one side and the translation on the other, which is really cool. I have studied German, and for a little while I dabbled in trying to learn Old English, which is related to German. So this one is fun, and I will be reading it, and I don't know if I'm counting it as a reread. I think I might, actually be reading this version of Beowulf for the first time. This one of my housemates has done a lot of time in Greece. Not traveling so much, just visiting, but this is a book about one of the islands in Greece. History of Sinamorets by Atanas Orakev. And it has pictures. And when I finish it, I will be giving it to the housemate so that she can enjoy it. This is another one that she saw. She's like, ooh, I want to read that when you're done. This is Willa Cather, a pictorial memoir. So, should be cool. And this one is not actually a memoir. The photographs are by Lucia Woods and others. The text is by Bernice Shore. So it is a biography, not a memoir. I have a bit of a quibble with books that make those words fuzzy. That's not really very nice. But, yeah, should be a really good book. And then F. Scott Fitzgerald, classic works, 2 novels and 19 short stories. I don't know which of these I have not read, aside from, I'll bet I've read the novels. Let me see what the novels are. This Side of Paradise and The Beautiful and the Damned. So I might need to read one or both of those. I'll have to look it up and see. I'll probably just reread them. I got Where the Crawdads Sing, which is a book that was really popular when I was early days in college. I think this one might be old enough to do next month. Light on a Dark Secret by Glynis Hayward, a Pulitzer Center Award-winning author. I have no idea. It is in South Africa. South Africa in the 1980s during apartheid. In this part of 97, the Michael Crichton book everyone on BookTube would have been talking about if we'd had BookTube would have been Airframe by Michael Crichton. So I found this at the bins, and I got myself a nice copy of Talisman because I do have a falling apart paperback version, but it's literally falling apart. And when I looked at it closer, I'm not sure if it even has all the pages. It may be missing bits. So I will be getting rid of that one and reading one that I'm sure has all the pages. Anyway, that is all the books I acquired for my birthday. Alright, so Let me know in the comments. Have you read any of the pretty books that I showed you? What did you think of them? Which ones should I read first? And any other comments or questions or whatever. I will be doing a update for the end of the month. I gave up trying to do an update for the end of the week because my birthday happened in the middle of all that and I got busy, and then the internet has been glitchy. So as soon as I wasn't busy, the internet wasn't working anyway. It's been one of those weeks. So I'm giving myself a pass on getting the weekly update up for this week because it's my birthday. I think it's all right on my birthday week to not get that video up if everything else has been aligning to not get that video up. So I've finished a lot of books, maybe a few more print books than previous weeks in March, but still most of my books have been virtual. Next month will be very different because since I'm doing 1997 and earlier, fewer of the books I'm reading will have audiobook versions. I will be doing some audiobooks, but it will be more like books that have LibriVox editions, which means really old books. Other than that, I will mostly be reading with my eyeballs, which will be crazy. I will be making an exception during Nicole's sprints for books that are on the Dublin Literary Award lists, because I do still want to read them as I get to them. And some of those are available on the library's ebooks and audiobooks collections. So those are another set of books I can read during Nicole's sprints. But I only have so many days that she's sprinting. So the rest of the time I'm going to be reading the stuff I'm supposed to be reading. So I have to plan my time wisely if I want to use those couple of chunks of hours per week to read, books off the prize lists. But I am going to be prioritizing the arcs during those kind of check-in with the modern era windows. I do figure that in a lot of time travel books where they have time agents, they do go back every so often to check in. So it's not like they have to stay in the time that they're working in. So I'm kind of thinking of it as that. So temporarily I can check in with 2024 during Nicole's sprints. And only then. So I'm already getting a bit used to the 90s. I got my plaids. I got lots of plaids now. In the 90s, I lived in leggings and big plaid shirts and flip-flops, which is exactly what I'm wearing today. I even found some new flip-flops at the thrift store for really cheap, like brand new. Still had their other tags on them, kind of flip-flops. So I was happy about that. I checked out the free cycle shed next to the book shed while I was getting my books and got a few very decidedly authentically 90s vests. You guys remember wearing lots of vests in the 90s? We did that a lot. And not nicely tailored vests either. They were boxy. I forgot just how boxy. But they were boxy. And you don't wear them over tank tops because the shape is just all wrong. They would need some sort of tailoring and shaping to wear over a tank top. No, these were meant to be worn with a shirt under them. And so they're boxy and roomy because you don't want your shirt to bunch up in your vest. So I forgot about that. But I have vests, very authentically 90s vests. And the shirts that go under them and various other things that I remember when we used to wear that. And I have to remind myself of the techniques for smoothly tucking in one's shirt again, because I don't. And most of my friends anymore don't. The idea of actually tucking in all your shirts. Why did we do that? It just makes your waist all bulgy because you've tried to tuck extra fabric into it. Like, meh. So there's reasons why we don't do that anymore. But in the 90s, yes, I too tucked in my shirt a lot. And then you wear your flannel as a jacket over it, and that way if you didn't get it all tucked in perfectly evenly, your shirt covers up your other shirt. So there are tricks to this. Yeah, so that should be fun. I may not dress totally 90s the entire month, but I actually put away most of my stuff that's really obviously modern. So most of the clothes that I have out and easy to get to are actually things that if they aren't 90s styles, they're close enough that if I time traveled into the 90s wearing them, I wouldn't get stared at. So that's the goal. 90s people would not notice me being a person from the future, hopefully. So anyway, that was my birthday haul. I got more glassware that I'm not going to force you guys to admire. I will probably do some videos showing off glassware. The last one I tried, the audio didn't actually work on it, so I gave up. But I will do some videos showing off my glassware, especially as I start identifying my goblets from the Wednesday, Wine Down Wednesday wine parties that Nell hosts. So I will eventually show off my wine goblets once I've identified them all. So that should be fun. And I will do an end of the month wrap up, talking about which things I accomplished, especially for Realmathon. March Mystery Madness. I remember that I was supposed to be doing that. I read some mysteries, so I will talk about those separately. And kind of an update on my 500 mysteries reading challenge that I've made some progress on. See where I'm at and how much more I need to read to finish my 500 mysteries. So expect that. And I will do a TBR for the first week of April soon. And that will be all books from the 90s and earlier. So, yay, that should be fun. I won't do any 90s music in the videos, but I might put suggested playlists in the description so you guys can remember what it was like to be in the 90s with me. So I will catch you guys again in the next video or in the next sprints where we're both on if you are doing sprints. Bye guys!